Hi students, in the last class we saw we finished the chapter number 2, which is the reconciliation statement. Okay, reconciliation statement of the what's the financial book and the cost book. Okay, and I hope all of you understand that chapter as well as whatever the problems related that. I hope that understand. Okay, so if it is any query with that session, you can ask me. Okay, so now in this session I am going to start the module number 3, which is the overheads. Okay, so which is the overheads, and you know what are the overheads? Overhead means what is nothing but what the indirect expenses. Okay, it indirect expenses, and so this overheads, it comprises in 3 elements. Okay, it comprises in a 3 elements. So which are those 3 elements? The material, first one, second one is a labor, and third one is a expenses. Okay, so these are the 3 elements of the overheads. Okay, so these 3 elements is a further divided into direct cost and the indirect cost. Okay, and so this indirect cost, it means what's the overheads. Okay, so indirect cost means what's the overheads. And you know what about direct cost also? Direct cost means what, which is the directly connected with the product. Okay, which is directly which means what, which is the direct expenses. Okay, so next, and the direct costs are part of the head of the prime cost. It means what, in the first chapter we solved the statement. Okay, cost sheet we prepared. Okay, so in that we ascertain the prime cost. Okay, so in the prime, for the ascertainment of the prime cost, we have to record all the direct cost we have to record. Okay, and so this all indirect costs are the overheads. Okay, so it means what's overhead means what's the indirect expense. Okay, so this is actually the meaning of this overheads. Okay, so overhead, it comprises in the 3 elements, which is the tools, material, labors expenses, as well as the materials. And these elements are divided into 2 parts, which is the direct cost and the indirect cost. And the direct cost is a part of the prime cost, and the indirect cost is the overheads. Okay, so this is about the overheads. Next, classification of the overheads. So classification of overheads, there are 3 classifications are there. So which are those? Functional classification, and the element wise classification, and the behavior wise classification. Okay, functional classification, element wise classification, and the behavior wise classification. Okay, so these are the 3 classification. Okay, you will understand what's the functional classifications, element wise classification, as well as the behavior wise classification. Okay, so now see the allocation and the apportionment. Okay, so allocation and the apportionment of the departmentalization of overheads. Okay, departmentalization of the overheads. Okay, so it means what's the departmentalization of overhead means what's it there these overheads are to be allocated. Okay, these overheads to be allocated and apportioned to production department and service department. Okay, so this apportionment of the production department as well as the service department. Okay, so this is known as the departmentalization or primary distribution of overheads. Okay, so it is called as, it's called as what, departmentalization or the primary distribution. Okay, and so now what in by allocation? Okay, so now see what in by allocation. So allocation means what, the allotment of whole times. Okay, so the allotment of the whole item of cost to control or cost units. Okay, so this is the allotment. Okay, so the whole item of cost or cost center or cost units. Okay, it is nothing but the allocation. Okay, so now see what is by apportionment. So apportionment means what, the allotment in proportion of items to cost center or cost unit is nothing but the apportionment. Okay, so apportionment means what, the proportion of item to cost center or cost unit is nothing but the apportionment. Okay, so I hope you understand the dematerialization. Okay, so next, these are the stages for apportionment. Okay, so these is the primary distribution and the secondary distribution. Okay, so these are the apportionment. Okay, these are the stages for the apportionment. Okay, so primary distribution and the secondary distribution. Okay, so now see in the primary distribution how it is the apportionment. Okay, basis of apportionment in the primary distribution. Okay, so now see these are the overheads. Okay, these are the what's the overheads, and these are the basis of apportionment. Okay, So it means also these are the indirect expenses. Okay, these are the indirect expenses, and how they are going to apportionment. Okay, so in which basis they are going to apportionment. Okay, so now see, the overheads are, or the rent, or the expenses or indirect expenses are, so rent, rate, taxes, building expenses, lighting, heating, fire precaution services. These are the apportionment on the basis of area occupied. Okay, on the basis of the area occupied. Okay, while solving the problem you have to make the ratios. Okay, you have to make the ratios. Okay, while solving the problem you will understand how you have to apportionment these expenses. Okay, so next thing is what? Canteen expenses, welfare timekeeping, personal office supervision. So these expenses we have to allocate or apportionment under this number of employees. Okay, they will give the number of employees, on that basis we have to apportionment. Okay, so next, compensation to works, ESI, okay, and PF contribution, holiday pay, salaries, and indirect wages. So these expenses we have to apportionment on the basis of direct wages. Okay, they will give the direct wages. Okay, so next, depreciation of plant and machinery. Okay, so as well as insurance of stocks and repairs, maintenance of plant and machinery. So these indirect expenses we have to apportionment on the basis of capital value or the value of plant. Okay, suppose for example these two persons are there, so first and two persons are there, and for the two persons common compensation of works or the PF or ESI they will give. Okay, common, okay, total common they will give for the two persons. Okay, so and direct wages they will give the different, for the A person is the different direct wages, B person for the different wages. Okay, but total expenses they will give for the both the persons. Okay, at that time you have to make the ratio and then distribute among these two persons. Okay, like this is the problems like this you have to solve. Okay, so next, general overhead. So this general overheads on the basis of direct labor hour and machine hours we have to apportionment. Okay, so next, power or steam consumption, lighting, internal transport. So these expenses we have to bifurcate under the technical estimates, such as HP means horsepower or kilo megawatts. Okay, so sorry, kWh, like this. On the basis of this we have to apportionment. Okay, so next, material handling or store keeping. Okay, material handling or the store keeping we have to on the basis of weight of material. Okay, weight of material, on the basis we have to apportionment. Okay, so next, audit fees. So these audit fees we have to apportionment under the sales on total cost. Okay, so like this we have to apportionment in the primary distributions whatever the overhead is given. Okay, so it's very easy and it will show the problem will come on this. Okay, but you should know, so which are those overheads and which are those overheads are distributed on which basis. Okay, so area occupied or the number of employees or the direct expenses, you should know this. Okay, and the note this is very important. If there is a suitable basis for the distribution, then such expenses should be divided on the basis of working hours of each department as on the basis of wages. Okay, so this is very important note. Okay, so keep in mind, and in the next class we will see how to solve the problem on the primary distribution. Okay, so thank you.